Imagine two kids trading baseball cards. One kid says, "This card is super rare. Only a few exist, so one day it could be worth a fortune." The other kid says, "My card is special too, but mine can also unlock games, run apps, and power an entire digital playground." At first glance, those cards might seem similar. They're both valuable. They're both digital. People buy them hoping they'll grow. But one is built to store value. The other is built to run an economy. And that difference is exactly why millions of people still confuse Ethereum and Bitcoin. Because on the surface, they look like cousins. But under the hood, they were built for completely different jobs. And if you don't understand that difference, then you're not really investing. You're guessing. I'm Xavier, and today we're breaking down how Ethereum is different from Bitcoin in the simplest way possible, but also in the way most people never hear it explained. Because once you see what separates these two networks, you'll understand why one became digital gold, while the other became the operating system for an entirely new financial world, and why that difference could shape the future of money. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Bitcoin was designed to hold value. Ethereum was designed to do things. That's it. That's the whole story. But buried inside that simple difference is a multi-trillion-dollar revolution. Let me explain. Back in 2009, Bitcoin was introduced as a response to financial chaos. The 2008 financial crisis had shattered trust in banks. Lehman Brothers collapsed. Millions lost jobs. Homes were wiped out. Governments printed trillions. And then a mysterious person, or group, called Satoshi Nakamoto launched Bitcoin with one radical idea. Serious. What if money didn't need a bank? No central authority. No government printing. No middleman. Just a digital currency with strict rules. Only 21 million Bitcoin would ever exist, no matter what. That scarcity is the key. Bitcoin's value comes from one powerful idea. There will never be more of it. That's why people call it digital gold. Not because it's flashy, but because it's scarce. In fact, that scarcity is exactly what makes gold valuable too. Gold isn't useful because you can spend it at Starbucks. It's useful because people believe it stores value over time. Bitcoin works the same way. A report from the Federal Reserve System once noted that scarce assets often gain value not because of utility, but because of trust in limited supply. That's Bitcoin in one sentence. Its one main job is simple. Be scarce, be secure, store value. And for that job, it's incredibly good. The network is simple by design. No fancy bells, no complicated logic, no extra moving parts. That simplicity is part of why institutions trust it. Firms like BlackRock and Fidelity didn't rush into crypto because of meme coins. They went for Bitcoin because Bitcoin behaves more like an asset. Predictable supply, strong security, clear narrative. Now, here's where Ethereum changes everything. In 2015, a young programmer named Vitalik Buterin looked at Bitcoin and saw something limited.
He saw that Bitcoin could transfer value, but not much else. So he asked a bigger question. What if blockchain technology could run software? That question became Ethereum, and Ethereum introduced something revolutionary: smart contracts. Now, smart contract sounds technical, but the idea is simple. Imagine a vending machine. You insert money. You choose a snack. The machine automatically gives it to you. No cashier, no employee, no approval. Just rules that execute automatically. That's a smart contract. A program that runs exactly as written. No human required. That means Ethereum isn't just money. It's programmable money. And that changes everything. Because once money becomes programmable, you can build systems on top of it. Loans, insurance, games, marketplaces, digital art, entire banks.
All without traditional institutions. You might be thinking, Xavier, Bitcoin can send money. Ethereum can send money. So what's the big difference? And honestly, that sounds reasonable at first. But here's where it gets huge. Bitcoin is like a calculator. Ethereum is like a smartphone. A calculator does one thing very well. A smartphone runs apps. That's Ethereum. Developers can build decentralized applications called dApps on Ethereum. That's why Ethereum powers things like decentralized finance. Instead of going to a bank for a loan, code handles the loan. Instead of a broker handling trades, code handles the trade. Instead of a company controlling the app, the network controls the app. According to data from the IMF, decentralized finance exploded from near zero to tens of billions of dollars locked in protocols within just a few years. That happened largely because of Ethereum. That's not just another cryptocurrency. That's infrastructure. And infrastructure tends to become incredibly valuable. Think of railroads. The railroad companies didn't sell the gold. They built the tracks, and the tracks became priceless.
Ethereum is trying to become the tracks for digital finance. Now this is where investors get confused, because Bitcoin's story is easy. Limited supply equals potential value. Simple. Ethereum's story is more complicated, because Ethereum has utility. People use ETH, the currency of Ethereum, to pay for transactions on the network. That means demand comes from usage. The more apps built on Ethereum, the more ETH is needed. That sounds amazing, and in some ways it is. But there's a catch. Actually, there are several. First, Bitcoin has a fixed supply. Ethereum does not. That matters. Bitcoin's hard cap is 21 million. Ethereum has no absolute maximum. Now, Ethereum has changed its economics to reduce inflation, and parts of transaction fees are burned, reducing supply. But it still doesn't offer the same clean scarcity story as Bitcoin. You might be thinking,
Then Bitcoin is automatically better. Not exactly. Because scarcity alone doesn't create usefulness. Rare doesn't mean valuable. A rare item nobody needs is still worthless. Ethereum's argument is different. Utility creates demand, and that's powerful. Because if Ethereum becomes the backbone of decentralized apps, then demand for ETH could grow dramatically. This is where the comparison gets interesting. Bitcoin is competing with gold. Ethereum is competing with financial infrastructure. Those are very different markets. Gold's total market value is in the trillions. Global financial infrastructure? That's vastly larger. Payment systems, banking rails, trading systems, digital ownership. Ethereum wants a piece of all of it. That's why some investors see Ethereum as a technology platform, not just an asset. A report from Harvard described blockchain platforms as potentially foundational digital infrastructure, more like the internet than a currency. That's Ethereum's bull case, and it's massive.
But the risks are massive too, because complexity creates vulnerability. Bitcoin is simple. Ethereum is not. And when systems become more complex, more can go wrong. Smart contracts can fail. Apps can be hacked. Fees can spike. Rules can change. That's the strange part. Ethereum is more flexible than Bitcoin, but flexibility creates uncertainty, and markets hate uncertainty. Warren Buffett has often said complexity can hide risk, and Ethereum is full of complexity. That doesn't make it bad, but it makes it harder to value. Bitcoin is valued as digital scarcity. Ethereum is valued as digital utility. Scarcity is easy to understand. Utility requires execution, and execution is never guaranteed. That's why Bitcoin feels more stable in narrative, and Ethereum feels more ambitious. Bitcoin says, "We are digital gold."
Ethereum says, "We are rebuilding the financial system." One is conservative. One is experimental. One protects value. One creates functionality. And that leads to the biggest difference of all. Bitcoin succeeds if people believe in it. Ethereum succeeds if people build on it. That's a very different bet. If developers leave, Ethereum weakens. If adoption slows, Ethereum weakens. Bitcoin doesn't depend on applications. Ethereum does. And yet, that dependency is also what gives Ethereum explosive upside. Because if developers keep building, if decentralized finance grows, if tokenized assets become normal, then Ethereum becomes essential infrastructure. That could be enormous, but it's not guaranteed. That's why Bitcoin and Ethereum are often compared, but they shouldn't really be treated as rivals. They solve different problems.
Bitcoin asks, how do we create scarce digital money? Ethereum asks, how do we build programmable digital systems? Both are important. Both are risky. Both could reshape finance, but in completely different ways. And that's what most people miss. They think they're choosing between two coins. They're not. They're choosing between two visions of the future. One vision says the future needs better money. The other says the future needs a new financial system. And maybe the real answer is that the world needs both. Because Bitcoin offers certainty, Ethereum offers possibility. And in finance, certainty and possibility are rarely found in the same place. So the next time someone says Ethereum is just another Bitcoin, remember this. Bitcoin is trying to become digital gold. Ethereum is trying to become digital infrastructure. One stores value. The other creates value.
And in the next decade, the market may decide that one of those roles matters far more than the other. The question is, which future do you believe in? If you found this video useful, make sure to like and subscribe, because understanding the difference between hype and structure may be one of the most valuable investments